Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC and with me is.
Wolf.
And today we are continuing our Monsterverse journey with Godzilla Kong the New Empire. And yes, the director actually confirmed that the X in the title is silent. So it's officially Godzilla Kong the New Empire. This is what I'm gonna call it. It's the latest in the Monsterverse movies. If you haven't seen our previous videos about this, then you can go check them out. But basically, we stand as Monsterverse fans. I
Mhm.
am a bigger Godzilla fan than Wolf is, but overall, we enjoyed the Monsterverse journey so far.
Yeah,
Is that right, Wolf? Would
yeah.
you
It's
agree
been
with that?
again like there's been some like nitpicks here or there, but overall it's been good. Like I would say, it's been very fun to watch these movies.
And now we are here with the latest in the co- at least what do you call it if there are five movies at this point?
I think there's sequel
Because
trilogy.
quadrilogy is
There's
four
I think it's tetralogy. Is that it?
and tetralogy. Let's say it is. I don't know. I don't really have any energy to look it up. But but it's the fifth in the series, and so you know what? Non spoilers yet. What did you think?
Non spoilers. What did I think? It was it was good. There was definitely some things of like I was a little bit. I feel like maybe I need to go back and watch some of the other films because I feel like I've forgotten so much. I'll be honest.
Hmm.
So like there's a little bit of me feeling lost for a bit, and then I kind of settled into it, and it's like, all right, no, I'm enjoying it. Like I still enjoyed it, but it definitely felt like I was a little bit lost at first.
Hmm.
I will admit.
Well, to me, I would say I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I want to state this. I had a lot of fun watching this. But I think that in terms of the overall package, it's not the strongest one. I would say that Godzilla vs. Kong was better, and I would even say King of the Monsters and probably Skull Island were better. Uh, I think like this one has all the right ingredients. It's really I had a lot of fun. There are a lot of moments that I absolutely adored, but overall there are some things that kind of bug me in the long run. But now is the point where I want to talk to you. I've seen a lot of people kind of bash this movie because it doesn't make any sense, to which I say, the fuck are you guys are in for?
Yeah, I feel like if you say this movie doesn't make any sense, have you watched old Godzilla films?
That's the thing that they say that they do, and like I get what they mean because if you compare this to like Godzilla 2014, and we'll get to something in a bit, but like Godzilla 2014 is a bit more serious than this, so I guess
Right.
that's what they mean. That, but it's also we are talking about a giant radioactive lizard that spits fire and a giant ass monkey in an alternate Earth that's beneath the surface of the what are you talking about? It makes no sense. You're not going into these movies to have
But
sense.
even then, right? Like I go back, the old movies make sense. Like, all right, fair enough. You might be just talking about the legendary, MonsterVerse deal here, but I look over there and I see Godzilla 2000 sitting there in the corner, and I just go,
Yeah,
"Are you sure about that?"
yeah, and
Listen,
also
I
like
loved that
you talk
film,
about
but
Godzilla,
that film was nonsense. Let's be
like
honest.
no, like and also you say 2000, like and the director for this movie said that this movie is basically a tribute to the Shaw era of Godzilla movies. You want to talk not making sense? Do you want a reminder of of the crazy shit that happens in in the first Godzilla series?
No, and again, I loved those films, but yeah, like let's be
Yeah,
honest with ourselves, right? Godzilla's always been a little bit out there somewhat, and it's I think it's supposed to, and I think these films being a little bit out there at times also is kind of a tribute to that, really, in my opinion.
yeah, and and I think what and I tell you what, I think one thing that really hurts this movie, and it's not really its fault, but and for the record, I haven't seen it yet, sadly, because they didn't release it in some parts of the world, so I'm waiting for a Blu-ray. But I think the fact that Godzilla -1 came out not even a year ago, and it's so fresh in people's minds, especially with it just winning an Oscar for best effects.
Mm.
I think it might have hurt this movie because, again, haven't seen -1, but it seems to be like going back to like the very greedy kind of like at the very 1954 and Shin Godzilla vibes.
Mm.
And then suddenly after this you see another Godzilla movie, and it's basically nonsense. I get why people would find this maybe too drastic of a change, but at the same time, who the hell walks into a movie with Godzilla and King Kong expecting it to make scientific sense?
Yeah.
Because if you remember when we did our Godzilla retrospective, you so many times said they just explain shit with science in these movies, and I just can't accept it. But I'm just trying to roll with it. And
Pretty
I'm
much no.
telling
I
you, and I told you to, what are you expecting?
No, there
You
was a
have
lot of
you.
times they would just have someone come on screen, like, and I again, I loved it. I was fully on board with it, but it was the dumbest shit where someone would just come on screen and just say the wildest shit, and people would just be like, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense scientifically. We 100%
Actually,
agree," and I'm just left
speaking
sitting there like, "What?
no,
Excuse me?"
speaking of, speaking of, I think one of my favorite more reactions from you in any podcast we did is when we covered the first Godzilla series and we talked about King Kong versus Godzilla, where they just say out of nowhere that Kong gets stronger when he gets hit by lightning, and a scientist just presents it as if it's fact for everyone, and you're like, is it? And then somebody tells them, you're absolutely right, sir. And you're like, is he?
Listen,
So, yeah, listen, people, these movies, even the ones that are really greedy and everything, like Shin Godzilla, very serious movie. And
mhm.
I love it for it. But you see a baby Godzilla there which gets cute fan art. Come on.
Listen, I dislike that film and I hate Godzilla Bus, and let's be honest, that's what it is. But it's like,
That's what you call it?
yes, I'm
Godzilla bust?
Godzilla Bus. He's a bus. Let's be honest, he was a fucking bus. Tell me, look at that, and tell me he's not a bus. He's a bus.
Like you mean the baby design?
The baby
Just to
design,
make
yes.
sure.
He looks like a
Okay.
fucking bus. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong, and I will bring that image up and point at it and say, "That's a bus. It's Godzilla bus. You will deal with it. This is you love Godzilla. If you are someone who loves Godzilla and you come into the MonsterVerse film, Godzilla Kong, and say this makes no sense. I point over there to Godzilla bus and say that's yours. You own that. You have no right to say this makes no sense. None.
Okay, for the record, some of the people which I had a talk about someone about this. Because I wrote a post about Godzilla in some Facebook group, and somebody asked me, "What do you think about the latest shit movie with him and Kong?" And I'm like, "I didn't think it was shit. I had a great time." And it's like, "Well, it didn't make sense for me." And I'm like, who goes into this movie who goes into this movie with a giant ass radioactive lizard and a giant ass monkey beating other monsters up? And the person literally said, I do. It took every effort that I need to put more effort into not just tell him that you're an idiot than anything else I've ever done in my life. Okay? I didn't, for the record. And if the person happens to be listening to this, then you know what? Be grateful that I took mercy on you, I guess. But, like, what the hell are you expecting? What are people expecting with this kind of movie?
I think. I mean, again, right? Like, if you say like you said that this film definitely feels the weaker out of the I believe it's four films we've had so far.
This is the fifth one. I
Oh,
won't say it's
fourth
the
one not
weaker,
counting
but
Kong Skull Island, but overall, like
I am.
the
I
fifth one,
am
right?
because it is part of
No,
it.
okay, fair.
So
Excuse me. I would definitely agree with you. It definitely feels like the weakest one. And if someone said that, fair enough. It definitely feels weaker than the ones that came before.
I tell you what, I think to
They all
some
make
degree, right?
sense.
Yeah. So,
Like,
because I think when the director said that this is a tribute to the Shoah era, then I could because the Godzilla 2014 was definitely like I think very Godzilla, the original Godzilla vibes, like a 1954 or
yeah, if
something.
this is a tribute to the show area, 100%, this they nailed it in my opinion. Like they nailed
And
that
I
kind of
think
style.
King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong and Skull Island too. I think these were more like Heisei Millennium era.
Yeah, because
If I need to
they
compare
had
them
more of
to
a
something.
story to them, right? And they followed the people a lot
Yeah.
more, and
Mm.
there's more you could follow along, right? Like that makes sense. I get it.
And
And
here, really, this is really if I need comparing the to Troy, I think not to spoil anything, and also I'm just saying this is in the very basic of blueprints. It really reminded me of the Ghidorah that we had in Monster, the movie which introduced Ghidorah. That
mm,
it kind of has a similar structure to it.
mm,
We'll get more into spoiler to that in spoilers in case you don't get it yet. But it has that vibe of because oh, there's an evil monster, and it kind of has a beef with one of the main monsters, so it needs to get the other one to help. And maybe there's a surprise monster that's coming in and is part of the equation, and now we need to beat it up. And the humans might just deliver exposition, which is another thing. I know that seems to be like a debate throughout that time would never cease to have. What should the humans' part be in a Godzilla movie? And because now it's like, oh, they're just exposition, and I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of love that there are scenes in this movie which is just the monsters doing their thing, and it's just done with grunts and actions and facial features. These parts were the strongest part of the movie.
agreed. It's definitely one of those things of it's. I feel like the humans you can go back to any era of Godzilla, right, and look at all the old films too, and
Yeah.
you're always gonna see like it's either they do well or they just completely fall flat on their side of things. It's never
And
been
even
something that
and
they've
either that
nailed, right?
Yeah, and even that it's really like a hit or miss thing
Yep.
because some movie I can because I think we when we did the Millennium Era I said that I actually like the humans in the third Mechagodzilla iteration, like in the 2000s Mechagodzilla.
Mhm.
I kind of like that one. I like that the female soldier who wants to avenge her brother and everything. I like that, but you said you connected with it on a lesser extent than I did.
Yeah.
So it's a really you can never really know what the general public's takeaway is gonna be in regarding the humans.
No, that's fair. Again, I agree with you. It's very hit or miss. Like either you're in it or you're not, and it takes you out of it somewhat. And I think that's okay, right? Like that's kind of just Godzilla. But I do think
Mhm.
the reason you're seeing people say that is because the monster verse here, right? Like these films, they did start off more of that, like you said, right? That gritty storytelling. Like it was more there was more of a story going on and more involved. Things felt more connected, and now you
Yeah,
get
and
this
I think
film and
also
it
with
feels
Monarch.
yeah, also Monarch, yeah. It definitely feels though like it's a weird turn to take. Again, I fully respect the hey, we're gonna pay some homage to like the Showa era stuff, and if
Yeah,
that's what the director said they were trying to do. I think they nailed that feel personally. Like having seen
yeah,
quite a few of
definitely.
those films and not too long ago, like I feel like they definitely nailed that feel. So,
Yeah, this was a Showa era movie with the current day effects and budget.
but I
And you know what?
do
I had a lot of fun watching that.
I get though if you've only ever seen the MonsterVerse films and never any of the
Yeah.
old Godzilla stuff, it would definitely feel weird, right?
Yes. Like it seems because, like I said, it's kind of like we jumped into a completely different time frame than what was established in the other ones, and I can get it's probably jarring, but saying this doesn't make sense, just then why are you here?
Fair. Like it's still, it's definitely still Godzilla, right? And like, you know, that comes with everything it comes with. You gotta, either you're into that or you're not, and fair enough. But they did well with it, in my opinion, for this one.
Mhm. Again, I just had a great time going into this and watching it and just having a good time. Is this the one that I'll go back to? No, I think I'll watch King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs Kong before this. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of stuff in this movie that I would definitely enjoy rewatching once it's out on home media. Definitely.
Agreed.
With that being said, I guess should we jump into spoilers so that we could stop beating around the bush?
Yeah, let's get in there.
Okay, so spoilers for Godzilla Kong the New Empire. If you haven't seen it, this is your chance to close the video because believe it or not, there are some spoilers that actually there is a shot that's different in the trailers than the final movie. So there are spoilers here. So spoilers starting in three, two, one. Still here? Okay. I cannot tell you how giddy I got when I saw fucking Godzilla, King Kong, and Mothra on screen at the same time. This has never happened before.
Well, we got that a little bit in one of the previous movies, didn't we? For this,
No,
no, I know
no, like
Mothra.
in
Like, wasn't it Godzilla versus Kong where Mothra was in that one too, or no?
no. She was in Kingdom
In
of the
King of the
Monsters,
Monsters.
where
I
she,
swear, man, I really need to go back and watch the MonsterVerse films again. They've kind of all bled together for me, I think, and I always
yeah.
end up
Well,
confusing something from one of them with another one. Ignore
well,
me.
it, well, luckily I'm here to fix you because I've seen all of these movies like more than once each one. So yeah,
Fair.
but
I definitely need to go
but
back and watch some of them again. But you're right.
but yeah. So seeing those three on screen at the same time, if you know these guys, this is insane.
Hmm.
The fact, like, we live in an age where we saw these three on the big screen together. And also, I just want to point out that I am so happy that because I really like the Matra design in King of the Monsters, but then again, the movie was so fucking dark that you could barely see it. And in here, you get to see it, and it's so good. And Matra, I love that Matra design so much. It's probably the
Yeah,
best one yet.
yeah, it looked really good.
And on that note, if we're only talking about it, I just love how they connected Gia, Kong's kid friend, how they connected her and the tribe on Skull Island to to the fairies which communicate with Matra. That is such a deep cut, but it works really well in terms of what was established in these movies
Listen,
and paying
let's
homage.
let's be a little fair. If they just threw out the fairies, then people, I feel I would be more on the side of people who said this movie makes no fucking sense. There's fairies now. What the fuck? I would get
Yeah,
it. But they did
but they
really
just
well at translating that and making it work
yeah
here with Hollow Earth and everything. I fully agree with you. Like, it
yeah
might be
that's
weird, but believe me, if you've not
it's
seen some
Godzilla.
old films, the fucking fairies have no explanation and they're just there. So,
Yeah.
like, full credit to Godzilla Kong. They took that and made it make sense. So, clap to them. Props. They deserve it.
Yeah. But I just thought it was a really brilliant tie-in because you never like because in Kingdom of the Monsters you could have just argued that Matra was just kind of there for the sake of oh, we never saw this character in an American movie, so this is the chance, right? This is
Mhm.
our chance to include and also establish that there are more than just Godzilla and Kong out there. There are a lot of these creatures, and suddenly they just took this thing that goes back all the way to the original King Kong, the Skull Island tribe people, and connected it to a movie that had nothing to do with it. That's honestly kind of a brilliant move. I again clap for that. That was really cool.
No, fair, absolutely.
And
I I think the way they've been using Hollow Earth to describe some of the more kind of out there concepts for Godzilla, right, from the old films, has been
Yeah.
a good decision personally, right?
Mhm. Agreed, definitely. But on that note, if I may talk about something that kind of annoyed me, not that, but like in Godzilla vs Kong, I kind of got why Kong got the a bit more screen time because Godzilla had two movies and he had one, so it makes sense. You want to balance that a bit. Here, there was no reason for Godzilla to get as sidelined as he was because Kong goes through the story and Godzilla is basically doing side quests and leveling up.
Pretty
That's
yeah,
and,
pretty
and
much.
don't
Godzilla kind of just like, oh, shit's getting ready to go down. Let me just like kill a few monsters, power up, power
yeah,
level
let
up, and then
me
let's
up,
fucking
homie.
go.
I'm doing some quests. I'm on level 99 soon. Hold on, give me a sec.
It's really like that.
But here's the thing: when he's doing that, he's fucking awesome.
No, agreed. Like,
Godzilla is awesome. Like when you start the movie up with him in Rome fighting that huge ass spider and he beats him in 2 seconds and then just goes to sleep in the Colosseum.
listen,
Oh,
seeing him sleep
I'm
in the
like,
Coliseum was kind of adorable. Won't lie.
here's the thing. This is the second time the director used his cat as an inspiration for Godzilla's behavior. No joke.
I mean, it works, so fair
Oh,
enough.
like honestly, if you look online, there are tons of fan art about that,
Oh
and
yeah.
yes, you know what? I fucking love it too. Give me more Godzilla sleeping in the Colosseum, please. It's amazing. So we have that, but then again, but then Godzilla also doesn't really do much throughout it, and it's like I want to see more of him. Like he looks fantastic, he's badass, he's doing everything I want him to. Show me more of him, because again they play with this thing that they kind of give them more characteristics through their facial expressions and everything. And Godzilla have those, so give him more to do. He gets the top billing. Why is he just to the side doing farming essentially? Hold on, bud. I need to farm some monsters. Hashtag leveling up.
Listen, Godzilla will get to partake in the main story eventually. Like it'll be his arc. He'll
Yeah,
have his arc soon, right?
yeah.
First we
The
gotta.
director
Kong had to
say,
have his moment.
yeah, the director did say, jumping ahead there, that because the movie is doing well at the box office, so
Hmm.
in the next movie he probably wants to touch more on Godzilla, which is like, yes, please, but not to discredit Kong is awesome too, and I
I
really
mean,
enjoy.
he gets a fucking power fist in this one, so cool.
Cool, but also I
Like
was sure it
Kong's
was
doing
gonna come.
good for himself, right? Like, yeah, he might have lost his hand a little bit to frostbite, but power fist, so
There was
it
actually a
equals out.
point, because there was a point in the beginning where he like wants to eat the thing and he breaks his tooth. So he calls they call someone to fix it. We'll talk about that later. But then in the climax where the evil monkey loses the tooth and Kong looks at him like, "Been there, huh?" I love that part. It's such a cool characteristic.
No, they've done good at like, especially for Kong and like the other giant apes, right? They've done really good at showing the emotion for them. I'm curious if they'll be
Mhm.
able to do more of that for Godzilla in the future. If they like
Yeah,
gives
because there
Godzilla more
are
solo
moments like
stuff.
because when Matra comes back, you can see on his face that's like, you're back, because he saw her die in Kingdom of the Monsters, and suddenly he has this face of, you're back, like my friend is back. And it's also a great moment because Matra is back for Godzilla and Gia is there for Kong. So really cool moment there that you just see on their faces. And
It's not as
I
easy to
just
tell it for Godzilla, in my opinion. I would say.
yeah. Yeah, but like he suddenly like he becomes a bit, because legendary Godzilla just has this like kind of constant mean smile, which I
Yeah,
love.
he
But
does.
when she comes back, you can see that like suddenly his eyes are less squinty.
Mm.
And speaking of, because Toho is apparently a bitch to work with when it comes to copywriting, I like that we are getting new monsters that we never see before, like Skull King. And I don't. Skull King is a villain that has never been a thing ever, but you see his animation, and like the animation on him, these facial expressions, just the way he moves. You know everything about this thing just from the way he moves without a single bit of dialogue.
Listen,
That's extremely great.
using the whip as a weapon, very cool
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, the whip too. And I also like that the whip has like this thing which he uses to control that other thing. I forgot the name of this.
What was its name? It was like Tiamat was the thing that Godzilla killed at the very
Shimu.
beginning.
Shimu. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
it.
that's what it's called. Yeah, so just a really cool villain. And again, I don't really have anything to say because he's just menacing from the way he moves, the way he acts, and it's just God. You want to see these two beat his ass to the ground, right?
Mm.
And also then we have I don't want to say Kong Jr. because it's not
I
that,
do
but
I do love how we talked about Godzilla Jr. from Monarch and we get Kong Jr.
that's what
essentially.
when you mentioned listen, when you mentioned that last week, I'm like, not gonna mention anything.
I
Can say
love that it was brought up and I go to see the film and I'm like I see this and it's like holy fuck, we got Kong Jr., not Godzilla Jr. Fucking wild.
and, and the other thing I love about this is because again, without any dialogue, you buy the connection that they bond. You buy their bond that
Yeah.
is forming in this movie. They don't talk a single human word, and you just get it.
No, if there's one thing I give full credit to the MonsterVerse that they've done so far is making all of the monsters. And again, like fully admit, I fully understand it's a lot easier to do with the apes than it is with Godzilla or some of the other monsters. But you can tell they've been trying, right? And like for
Mhm,
the apes so far, they've done really well. And I hope they're able to translate that into Godzilla and some other monsters in the future because that would be really interesting to see. It is them like
definitely.
in a way humanizing them a bit more, but not, making them feel human, right? Like they're still monsters, they're
Mhm,
still gonna feel alien. And I
yeah.
think they've done that well so far with the apes, with Kong and some of the others.
Mhm,
So I'm curious to see if they're able to
mhm,
keep that up with the other monsters, personally.
yeah. I am looking forward to seeing that too because I love what we see so far. And also,
Mm-hmm.
people have mentioned that, but God, did it not just give you the 2018 God of War vibes?
Yeah, yes. I was watching the film and I'm like, holy fuck, this is just he's got the axe, he's got a boy with him now, they're traveling.
Boy.
He's got a son. Like they've just turned Kong into God of War. Like holy shit, Kong is Kratos now. Fuck me.
Which you know something?
And I'm
Which
kind of
you know
here for it.
something? I will tell you what, if they ever don't do this for the record, but if you needed to put a voice to Kong,
Oh fuck.
Christopher Judge would be fucking awesome.
That would work. Like fully agree. That would work really well. Like no lie. Like perfect match for it in my opinion. Yeah, fully agree.
And the sad thing is that up until this point, I just said if somebody needs to direct a God of War movie based on the 2018 thing, on the Norse mythology part, then I said Taika Waititi, like because he directed a movie that's called a Goodwill Hunting. I think
Mm-hmm.
that was it. So which gave me the exact vibes for it. But now Adam Wingard is a close contender because of this movie. So whichever one, you know what, Adam Wingard can do the Greek God of War movie, and then Taika Waititi would do the Norse one. Um, a studio who wants to do a God of War adaptation, hit me up. I got ideas for you. So anyway, where were we? Yeah, so the monkeys are doing. I know that they're not monkeys for the record, but it's just funny to say. So
No,
the
fair.
monkeys are well done.
Yeah, they're off doing their
Anything?
thing. We've talked a bit about Godzilla killing, Tiamat, like just fucking that fight didn't last long, which was cool. Again, and like you said, I love seeing the new Titans that they've come up with, like Tiamat, being giant sea, sea serpent sort of deal was pretty cool to see and everything.
Mhm.
I think
Which again, it's also kind of like a genre thing that they just throw new monsters at Godzilla to fight. That just
kind of
okay.
throwaway
We need.
monsters like, hey, here's this thing that Godzilla can easily kill. He hasn't yet. Now he has. Goodbye.
Yeah.
What did you think of Pink Godzilla?
Well, honestly, I am kind of for every kind of Godzilla 2000 reference that we can go. I love that
Fair.
design.
It was good.
So as soon as I say it in the trailer, I'm like, all right, let's go. And then people are like, oh, it was inspired by the Super Saiyan Pink from Dragon Ball Super. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
No, I think
Shut the fuck up. Do some research.
yeah, I think well, I guess that wouldn't have been before Dragon Ball, but still like Godzilla's
Well,
done this
yeah,
before. This isn't
Godzilla,
new.
Godzilla 2000 came out way before Dragon Ball Super was a thing. In
Oh,
2000,
super. Yeah, no. Yeah, fair. No. Yeah,
people back in the 2000, people were still complaining if GT was canon or not.
this is true.
Uh, I think I don't keep in mind
We'll just
Dragon
assume
Ball.
someone can correct
Dragon
us.
Ball didn't show up here until 2003. So I
Mm.
I may be a bit behind here, but I think in the 2000s people were more complaining on was it canon? Is it not canon? Is it because Super wasn't a thing? So don't tell me Godzilla ripped off Super, where if anything, Super ripped off Godzilla. That's all I'm saying. Goji for the win.
Fair enough.
If people are going to give me shit about when I to give me shit about this Sonic rips off Dragon Ball, it's like no. I got the big leagues now, bitches. I got my way now. But
Good.
what were
You
we talking?
good? No, we should get into it. We've not talked about it too much. Let's talk about the humans, the human story.
I still like Gia, and I love her arc of how she's connected to the fairies, which are connected to Matra.
Mhm.
I like that, and everything. I love the new dentist guy, the kaiju guy dentist, that just makes Kong everything he needs. He's fun. I love him.
Trapper. Dan Stevens is Trapper. That one was so wild. Like, I love how he's basically like, yo, man. Like, there's a point in the film where it's him and Brian Henry, who plays Bernie, and like
Yeah,
they just like share a moment in the background, and it's like,
Bernie. That's his name. That's the character's name, Bernie.
yeah, it's like, what is going on between these two? Right? Like, I don't understand Trapper at all. Like, he just seems like, nah, man, it's cool. It's like he seems like a hippie, but at the same time not.
Yeah,
And
and
I
that's
kind
why
of
I kind
love
of
it.
love them because because it's almost what the fuck is this guy doing here? But at the same time, he embodies the movie perfectly. Don't think about this too much. Just have fun.
Like like you even mentioned, right? Like he comes in and he's introduced as a dentist, and it's like, yo, you're coming with us to Hollow Earth to like check some things out. It's like, oh, why though? He's just, as you said, a dentist for Kong. That's it. It's like,
Well,
I
but then
guess,
but then
sure,
he
and
also
it's
makes
like he
the
doesn't do half bad.
mm, and then he also creates the new gauntlet, right?
I mean, he doesn't necessarily create it. He goes to pick it up. I guess I don't know if it was being worked on by him before or someone
Eh,
else. They don't really explain
like
that,
but
but
the
you
point
don't
is
need
that
to.
this was something he knew about and he gave Kong.
Yeah,
That was his this was his contribution to the movie.
that, and he like, yo, I'm gonna go get the cavalry. It's like, you're not gonna make it to Monarch and back to Earth in time to get anybody. And he's like, nah, not that cavalry. I'm gonna go get some other people or something else. And then he comes in with like the electric, flying little wyvern things
Yeah.
to help out.
And
It's like, cool. He's such a wild. I
uh,
kind of love him. He's such a wild and weird character, but I kind of love him. And I think Dan
yeah,
Stevens does really good in the role.
yeah, like you can tell that he had a lot of fun. And
Oh yeah.
speaking of, when it comes to action sequences, I just I love where Kong supposedly goes to recruit Godzilla from Egypt, and Godzilla is just not willing to listen. Like it's again that Kong is trying to be the peaceful, but Godzilla is like, nah, we said something. You're in my turf. Prepare to die. And Kong like is like, I don't want to fight you. So, but then he punches Godzilla so many times, and then he just grabs Godzilla by the tail and drags them back to Hollow
Yeah,
Earth for a bit.
he was gonna like, you're
I
coming with me, motherfucker. Let's go.
yeah. And then I also love in the tradition of Godzilla just doing weird ass shit in
He fucking.
forms
Oh my god. Go ahead. I'm gonna see if you
when
bring
he
up the thing.
suplexes
Yes.
Kong.
Like I was sitting there like, holy shit, Godzilla just suplexed King Kong. Okay, fair enough.
Like
Didn't
because it's
wouldn't
kind
have
of a
had that on the
tradition
bingo,
because
but cool.
again it's because in the there was in I think it was Godzilla versus, yeah, in Godzilla versus Megalon way back, that he just runs up and then he just lifts his leg and slides on his tail to kick
Oh yeah, that
someone.
stupid ass scene.
Yeah, and then there was in Godzilla vs Mega Giants where he just where he just decides I'm going to do a body slam. Like he literally jumps into the air and body slams the monster. So this is a new one. This goes on the list.
Yeah, agreed. Like
The-
it was so wild, and I agree. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, and credit to the final fight. We never saw a gravity fight in a Godzilla movie before, and I think this is kind of goes back to the idea that because these are not people in rubber suits, this is CG. You can basically control them to do whatever the hell you want, and in Godzilla versus Kong we kind of saw it because this was the first time we saw actually like actually moving and fighting on all fours, like that he's going
Mm.
full feral. This was like, okay, no more playing around. And in here we get to see him jumping around, and and the gravity is wonky and he's flying in the air. It's like, you know what, I don't fucking care if it doesn't make any sense. This is fucking awesome.
No, it was a fun. I always wonder, right? Because like all of these movies have been pretty heavily reliant on CG. I'm very curious to see how these films will feel to watch like 10, 15 years from now. And I know that's a long
Mhm.
time to think about, right? But I really
Yeah,
do
but
wonder how well the CG will hold up. I feel like
mhm,
it'll hold up fairly well because
mhm,
I feel like I don't think you're going to get much better CG than this 10 or 15 years in the future. I could be fully wrong. Who knows
like
when it comes to technology, right?
because you're saying that, and to be honest, Godzilla 2014 is already 10 years old now.
Oh
So
god, it is. Fuck me.
yeah, so and I would say also the CG in that movie still
Yeah,
holds up
like that's
really
still.
well. So.
I need to watch it again, but from what I remember, yeah, I would say like it doesn't feel that much different than what we got here, right?
Yeah, like I would say that the one thing that they improve is that now they are actually filming the action a lot during the daytime, which I appreciate because now
Yeah.
you can actually see it. And maybe in 2014 it would technically look better because you could argue in the darkness you don't see some of the edgier parts, but overall I still think I think the CG would hold well. It's but who knows? We'll have to see. We'll
Well,
have to see in 10 years.
I do think the darkness was kind of the point, right? They don't want you to see some things. They want it to feel like a little bit mysterious, right? Like that was kind of the point. So I get it.
Yeah, but at some point, it's also like how much of it is that, and how much of it is. If we do this in darkness, then there will be some parts that people might not notice.
Or we can just save money on the CG, yeah. We
Mhm.
don't have to show you as much so we can save some money. And to be fair, it was the first film, so I guess they didn't know if they wanted to put as much into it because they didn't know if it would work or not. Because the last time the West tried to do something with Godzilla, well, we know what
What do
that
you
came
mean? There
with.
was no time. It
There
wasn't
was no time.
Godzilla.
No, that's right. That's fair. It's no, there was no other time. This is the first.
Yeah, actually, speaking of, talk about the movie with Zilla. Talk about the movie where the effects were terrible back when it came out, and now it even looks worse.
Yeah, yeah. And I will still admit I kind of still like that movie, not because of Godzilla, not because of Zilla, right? I kind of like that movie for other reasons. It's really
Yeah, for all
dumb.
the dumb shit that's like
And again, that
every
kind of
movie
comes
that
back
has a
to
monster like that.
again. Oh, go ahead.
I also that every movie which actually has a creature that size and has the nerve to tell you that the city of New York is the perfect place for it to hide is doing something that will make you laugh, but not necessarily for the right reasons.
But and that, like I was just gonna say too, right? That kind of brings us back to everything was like this makes no sense. Welcome to Godzilla again. Even when we're not doing Godzilla properly, it still makes no sense and is kind of dumb, and you love it for it.
But at the same time, I will say that saying that the city of New York is a perfect place for a creature like this to hide, this is going overboard. This is like,
Oh yeah,
no, you can't expect me to believe that.
no, I think
It's not,
no, 100%. I
you
agree with
see.
you. Like it's Godzilla, right? Like he's not hiding. He's just walking through fucking buildings. Like he doesn't give a
Yeah, and that's
shit.
the thing. But then they say that he
Oh,
disappears
I'm
in this
aware.
city, and what the fuck do you mean? What is he like a Spider-Man? He takes off the mask and he's a human. What the fuck?
Yeah, man, you didn't know Godzilla's just his secret identity.
Of course it is. Well, anyway, speaking of the other thing that I love about this and this franchise in general, and this kind of continues that the first time you see Godzilla in this movie is in freaking Rome, and then he like goes, and then like you see him in France, you see him in the Arctic, yeah, you see him in Egypt, and the climax is in freaking Rio de Janeiro.
Yep.
I just love how we are just all around the globe with this thing. It's like it's nice to because again, obviously, I don't. When you think Godzilla attacking, you most likely would think Tokyo, right? And fair enough. But I also just enjoy that we can get to see him destroying other, especially like if you live there. Let's assume if there are people, if there are Godzilla fans in Brazil, it's probably cool for them to say, "Oh, the climax is someplace I know and probably have been to."
Yeah. No, it's always fun getting to see your own place destroyed.
I
I guess in a weird, like in a weird way.
in a fictional big screen explosion-y kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like, and I agree with you as well because Godzilla's always kind of had that thing of like he definitely feels like a Japan monster, right? Like their
Mhm.
monster, but it does make sense that he's kind of like he's not just gonna be at Japan. Like as big as he is, he's just gonna go wherever the fuck he wants, and fuck you if you want to get in his way, essentially.
Yeah.
And so
Which, which again, if he decides to sleep in the Rome Colosseum, then you know what? You can stop him, baby. He's
yeah,
gonna sleep there.
what are you gonna do? Like enjoy the photo op that you just got. That's
Yeah,
pretty much it.
honestly, something. If Godzilla actually slept in the Colosseum, I'm booking a flight to Italy again today, and I'm gonna fly there and I'm gonna take a picture.
Like 100% would agree, right? Like if I'm already there, especially like I'm already at the Coliseum, and he just walks in and starts going to sleep, it's like picture, 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 picture. All right, I'm good now.
putting on putting it online. Hashtag the king sleeps tonight or something. I don't know. Uh,
But I
so you
again,
see,
I fully agree with you. I love that they're doing stuff like that because it makes so much sense, and
mhm.
it just allows you to use buildings in like especially landmark buildings like the Coliseum, like the I think it's the Cristo Redentor in Rio de Janeiro,
Yeah,
the giant statue
that's
of Christ,
actually,
right? Like,
and that's the other thing because Rio is famous for the beaches and everything. So and it makes so I love the fact that when Skull King makes his appearance there, where he's doing at the beach, and when he sees the people there, he has the smile of, oh yeah, I found my dinner, and it because it's if it's gonna happen, what you have the choice, you can create the rules if as you go. Actually, why not? Why not fucking have him appear in the place where there are going to be the most people.
mhm.
That and then the entire climax takes place there, which, by the way, I'm glad everyone managed to evacuate. Good job. And and again, like the action is fantastic, as fun as always. And just yeah, I'm just having a great time with these movies. Sue me, people who are looking for logic.
No, agreed. And I love how we've kind of transferred from the first films kind of focused on that human element of what it feels like to be there during like a big Titan fight, right? And what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've
Yes.
transferred to no, we're going to show it from more of the Titans viewpoint, and like we'll
Mm-hmm.
show you a few shots of humans running and trying to get away and not be killed, but it's not really the focus anymore. This is just their
Yeah,
world.
like.
They have to deal with that. You're here. We're
Mm-hmm.
here to focus on the Titans fighting. It's from their perspective now. Like we've shown you what it's like from the humans' perspective. It's fucking scary. It sucks, but they just have to deal with it because good luck killing Godzilla. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, there you go.
And at the very least, at least he's killing other Titans for you. So at this point, it's like win-win.
Yeah. Uh,
You take what you get.
there is the point in Kingdom of the Monsters where they see Godzilla kill Ghidorah for the fun, and they go, Jesus, thank God it's on one side. So yeah, what are you gonna do? Call like animal control when these things
I mean,
attack? No, you need Godzilla for this.
Godzilla's even a bro at the end of this film, right? Like there's gonna be an ice, like Shimo is gonna start a new ice age, and Godzilla's like, nah, we end that shit. No ice age.
Hmm.
It's like
And I
that's
kind
how
of
much
like
of a
how.
bro he is. Like he could have let us deal with the ice age, but he said, nah, I'll end it for you because I'm cool like that.
Mhm. Yeah, there you go. And Kong also continues to live happily and in Hollow Earth and be the commander of the monkey army
Yeah,
with the
which
boy.
with the boy. I do feel like we've kind of seen the end of Kong's story, right? It feels like he's had his like little arc that they've wanted to do, and I feel
Hmm.
like we'll probably see a lot less of Kong in any future films.
Like I would still not mind having him around because
Oh,
again I love
absolutely.
Kong,
No,
but
absolutely. Like
but
I'm fine with him coming
but I
back.
think. Mhm. And the thing is, right now we still don't know what besides Monarch season 2, which we talked about, and even then it's a mid-quel. We don't really know what the next part of this is gonna be, but
Mhm.
once we'll know, we'll be there to talk about it. Speaking of, since I think we basically covered everything that we have to, what do you want to see next for the MonsterVerse?
I definitely want to see. I think like it's been a while at this point, right? Like because we had Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then did Kong Skull Island come out after that?
No, it was before.
All right. Well, we had Kong Skull Island. We've had
Uh,
Godzilla versus Kong. Now we've had Godzilla, Kong of the New Empire. I would like to go back to personally a solo Godzilla film again because I feel like it's been
mhm.
a while, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be nice to
Uh,
have.
I agree, and maybe not necessarily a solo, but give him a bit more. Now, if we're going to explore the idea that maybe we can find out more about him. What does when, maybe not necessarily in terms of his creation or something, because Monarch is kind of doing that, but like what does he do when he's under the sea and go swimming around? Something that will be a bit more meaningful to him, because they can definitely do emotions on his face. They can definitely do
Hmm.
something in terms of building a character with him. I want to see more. I want to see this take on Godzilla, because usually he's just a creature and he shows a personality in a lot of the movies, but I want to see more. And I right now, though, I think maybe they should avoid the Godzilla Junior mini away,
I was gonna bring
because
that up.
Kong just had
I'm
one.
curious if they ever do approach that. I'm very curious to see how they would do it. Like, right?
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, I would like
curious,
to see how
but I
they
do
do it,
agree
but
with you. I
not
think we
right
should wait.
away.
Yeah, I think we should wait. I'm curious. I'm very curious to see how they would do it, but I do agree with you. I think we should wait.
And the other thing that maybe not necessarily right away, but Matra is back now. I would want to see a solo Matra movie.
Ooh.
I Because people, I keep reminding people, Mothra originated in her own movie way back
Mm-hmm.
in the day.
That is true.
So, if Toho agrees for Legendary to use her, why not give her a solo American movie? That could be cool. I would be down for that.
Yeah, no, fully agree. Like that'd be interesting. Like do more with Mothra. Maybe have like Godzilla be side character in it again, and then we potentially get a full Godzilla X Mothra, Godzilla and Mothra movie instead of like Godzilla Kong. That would be interesting and neat. Something
Yeah,
more
and
than just
also
King of the Monsters.
another thing I might want to see is how how in most of the Japanese movies you get like the Godzilla versus someone
Yeah.
Godzilla, so I would love to just see and is to see something like this that you just like we got Godzilla versus Kong, right? But now let's just get Godzilla versus enter random monster name here, because they show that they can create their own monsters and do it really damn well. Put Godzilla against some sort of an enemy and trying to come up with a story around that. Bring me something like that. I want to see that.
Not fair, because we kind of had a little bit of Mechagodzilla, a little bit of Ghidorah, so it would be nice to have like a full on.
Not necessarily,
Well, no,
again,
no,
and
like
not necessarily a pre-existing character, because again, Toho is really stingy with that.
yeah.
But
But what I'm saying though, it'd be nice to have like what I'm trying to say is like something like that, but more of a full movie, right? It's just Godzilla versus
yes,
one particular monster, and it's like the whole movie is kind of built around that one fight. I think that'd be fun and interesting.
hmm I would be down for that. And again, I know Toho stingy. I mentioned that, but
Unfortunately,
God, if they could get Jet Jaguar in one of these movies, that would be fucking amazing.
ooh yeah, that'd be interesting to see them bring to the MonsterVerse.
Like, because again, talk about some the Showa era. Jet Jaguar is the most ridiculous fucking thing. Like, you look at him, he's ridiculous.
Listen, he
So
is he
imagine,
is the
and
Showa era. Jet Jaguar is the Showa era to a T. Let's be honest.
yeah, and especially in Germany where they decided to advertise him as King Kong in a robot suit. I am not joking.
I mean, we got a little bit of that.
Yeah. So here's the thing: how about just go full on with it? Because you remember that Netflix anime, like the Godzilla Singular Point.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, they did Jaguar in that one, and he was actually great in that. He was basically the main character. He was,
Talk about another
do
wild
that.
Godzilla thing too, like that one.
I remember that one because I just told you. You see, they explained the science so fucking much in this show. That's because of you, because you question the science, and you're like,
And
so
it still made zero sense, but
because they are trying to bullshit their own bullshit. I think that's what it was.
and
But
again, I love them for it. Like I fully respect it. It's dumb as
yeah.
fuck, but I you know what? Full respect. I love you. You know? Like stick to your bullshit. Stick to that bullshit gun. Go for it. Do you,
Yeah.
baby?
Well, but anyway, whatever they decide to do next, I'm game. We'll definitely keep an eye out, and give Goji more to do than just level up, please.
Actually, bringing that up, that is something I would love to see in one of the MonsterVerse films.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see them just try to bullshit me at some point, because I don't feel the MonsterVerse films have really tried to do that all that much at this point. I think they've kind of downplayed a lot of the science aspect and just kind of left it in the background somewhat.
You realize what you're telling them?
Oh,
CS, treat me like
I
I'm an idiot.
I
Please
fully
throw
am. I
anything at
fully am,
me.
because I love it when, again, I hate it, but I also have a weird love for when the Showa era films and a lot of the other Godzilla films have tried to bullshit me, because it's so dumb, but I love it because it's so dumb. So I would love to. I kind of hope like Monarch's second season tries to do the bullshit, right? Where they try to bullshit me into believing like, yes, this is the thing. Oh yeah, it is the thing. You're absolutely right. And I'm like, what? Explain more, please. Because I don't get it.
Well, writers of Monarch or any of these movies, if you're
I
listening
give
to
you carte
this,
blanche. Try to bullshit me
you're
again. I
welcome.
miss it, all right? I will admit. I hate it, but
uh,
I kind of miss it. So try to bullshit me.
mhm. Well, is there anything else to say after all of this? I think we
No,
basically
go
covered everything.
watch Godzilla Kong. Like it's definitely not the
Yeah.
strongest of the MonsterVerse, but it's still a
hmm
fun ride.
But like, if you know what you're going into, which is just a fun as hell movie to kill the time with and to see Godzilla and Kong being badasses, you'll get what you pay for. Definitely.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, with all that said, that's it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What did you think about Godzilla Kong: The New Empire? What do you think? What would you say you want to see in the future of the MonsterVerse? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. So, until the next episode, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.